A few hours ago, someone knocked on my door, and it was these two guys who were trying to spread Christianity and the message of Jesus. I'm not really a religious person, and when something like this happens, I usually just say I'm not interested and I shut the door. But for some reason, I was just interested today in having a conversation with them. And so we started talking about religions and the state of the world. And they mentioned something where they have noticed that the world is becoming an evil place, that the world is worse than before, that they are seeing things on the news about people who are interested in children, how wars are happening everywhere, how people have become more selfish, and I just had to disagree with all of this. And this brings me to the topic of today's video that I wanted to talk about anyway, which is that I don't really think the world is becoming a worse place. It is just that modern technologies and globalization has allowed us to see everything that is happening everywhere in the world. And this is just not natural to us or to our brain, because back in the day, before all these technologies, we lived in our village or our city and we were surrounded by, I don't know, 200, 300 people, and we just knew what is happening around us in this immediate surroundings. Things were slow and rarely something big happens, and we were just occupied by our day-to-day lives. While now you just wake up, take your phone, open YouTube, and you see the latest news happening, I don't know, in Ukraine, in Palestine, in whichever place. There are always negative things happening at every second. You're exposed to all the serial killers, the narcissists, the people who are abusing each other, the people who are trying to spread misinformation, and all of these different things that we are just constantly bombarded with. If you just read a few history books and go back in the past, you would notice how wars were more spread and there were more poor people. We were more ignorant, we were more savage, we were more unfair and just not treating each other so well. Of course, the world is not perfect. Of course, many people are assholes. Of course, we tend to be narcissistic, we treat each other unfairly. But I think in the grand scheme of things, we have advanced a lot and improved as human beings. Our morals have improved. We have become better people in general. It is just that these news outlets shows us the outliers, the peak negative experiences that are happening everywhere. It doesn't show us the good things. It doesn't show us the positive things, because good things tend to be slower when they are happening and not so obvious. And so when we are constantly feeding ourselves this information, of course, the world will seem like a really bad place or that it is worse than the past. But the world is just the way it is. It has always been like this. There is good, there is bad. Both are happening simultaneously. It has always been like this and will forever be like this. I don't think there will ever be a utopia, and I don't think that the world is turning into this dystopian land. We are just changing the way we think about it because of our exposure to everything. So we just really gotta be careful here when we say that the world is becoming worse. And in my opinion, the solution to that is just reading more about history, going more in the past, acknowledging all of these things that happened in the past, and see how people were much more ignorant, and see how the world was actually much more violent than it is now. So basically, just less media consumption, less news, and more content related to historical events, because they really give us perspective on how the world function and how things have changed over time. And it really makes you grateful that you are born in this era instead of the past. Because I feel like many people say that it's a shame that they are born now and they wish they were born in the 1990s or further back in time. I think if people actually had their wish fulfilled, they will realize how things weren't the way they think they were, and they would regret it instantly and go back to the present moment, which is the modern age that we live in. A flawed world filled with problems, but a big improvement over the past. So yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.